Welcome, this is Keita.
And I am Lorianne.
And you're listening to Anxiety is a Mother.
Hey girl, hey, we back. A new week, a new episode, and we have our first guest. Are these our first? No, these are not our first guests of the season. I'm all discombobulated, but we have some real good guests that we came to know and love over the past year or so, and it's the owner, founder, Miss CEO, I'm gonna go on and put the label on it, of Defacto Books, Vanessa.
What's up?
Welcome. And your lovely, amazing business partner, supermodel, beautiful inside and out, Miss J. Nicole. Welcome to Anxiety is a Mother, ladies.
Welcome, ladies.
Excited to be here. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Thankful, yes.
Thank you for being here.
Good. We're happy to have you here. So before we even get started and hear a little bit more about Defacto Books and how it came about, I just want to go around the table and we do this thing where we check our energy and just tell each other how we feeling, what's going on in life. And so I'm going to let you start.
My energy is good today. I do feel a little anxiety-ish. The whole time thing and being time constraints like that stresses me out, and I can tell your energy.
Because she was late as fuck today, y'all. So let's just put it on the table. She was late. I told you to be here at 10:30.
Don't put the exact time that you show up. You have to bake that into, having your guests arrive. So I would have put 10:30 on the calendar. And honestly, I didn't even see it on my calendar. So I saw 11 and I just like.
That part.
When you start a job, you work 8 to 5. You can't leave at 8.
But see, the thing, I
feel like we're adults. We can't babysit
but I was on
each
time.
other.
We can't, but no. When you do business, you have to it is babysitting. I'm not a 9 to 5er. So I kind of live on a whole different time zone than other people. Yeah. So it's just like you have to bake it in for not just your co-host, but for your other people as well.
Yeah, I think I included it in the email though to be 30 minutes early. But
Girl,
I never do that on the
emails.
Yeah, I know, because you don't be reading my emails.
No, it disappears. It disappears.
Look, you are J. Nicole and I am Lorianne all day long.
So this y'all too?
But no, see, I have so many other
businesses.
businesses, and it's not that I want someone to babysit
her
me.
too.
It's just like kind of understand that I'm like this a little bit. So and I do that not just co-host relationship. I feel like she looks at it from a cousin standpoint, but just business. That's how I do other people as well, because time is valuable. And I didn't have intentions on being late. Actually, I was only 2 minutes late. But I was on time, technically. I was on time.
But until though, I never when I have an event and we're going to record or whatever, I never put like adjusted time on the calendar. I just never have. So for her to throw this at me like today,
but
this is not new.
But this also means you like to stay frustrated then. Because
me?
Yeah, because listen,
Why?
I'm telling you because I feel all your energy because she's the same way with me. Here's what you do. Don't be frustrated. You don't.
I actually am.
You don't have to trust Keita to be on time. You just have to trust Keita to be Keita, and she's gonna be.
And I'm
present,
usually the on-time person, so don't play me like that.
But I'm
Lori,
saying,
really? No, tell the people on the camera because you're making it seem one way, and it's not that way. But she's usually the late person.
But
I'm always
if you know. Like in your head, because see, you said two things I always say. They don't read my email, and they should assume the adjusted time because we're grown-ups. But everyone has different businesses, different schedules, different shit going on.
Yeah.
So here's what you do. Pad your time by 15 minutes every meeting.
Every meeting, not just me.
Everyone's on your time then.
Right.
They're on your time then.
That's true.
I
had to learn because I'm terrible. I take forever. It's anxiety over an outfit that I'm going to wear. That makes me late every time. So I just learned to always plan to be 20 minutes early to whatever it is. And I'm still on time. I'm never 20 minutes early.
And I think the anxiety from this situation is really coming because we're in the studio and we only have 1 hour. Yeah. So that's adding so much. So like when I walk in, I already feel 2 minutes. Typically 2 minutes wouldn't bother you.
Playing.
No, your energy is high.
No, it's not.
It is.
Y'all should just hug it out.
come on, because we already, like, like that kind of stuff.
No,
So,
but that's the thing though. It's not so much as you, because other things came up too that kind of held us up even while you were here.
Right.
So it wasn't even that. It's just the whole constraint of the hour, because we're in studio today.
Right.
When we're doing our own thing, like, we're not worried about that. If we're running over, we running behind. Like, when you're on other people's time,
It's different.
it makes you a little like, okay,
that.
I want to make sure, because I know this episode is going to be really good, and we have a lot of information we want to and things we want to discuss. So it's like we want to get all of it out there. Like, are we gonna have time? So it,
You need
kind
a
of goes
whole
into
episode on
but
how
anyway,
do we
I
honor
love
one
you.
another's time.
I love you, and I'm glad. See, that's what I love about our podcast, because
it's
we keep it
real.
real.
Yeah.
Like, this is how we talk to each other
But
in real
I
life.
because I didn't want. I hate when I shift her energy, and I know I can do that a lot. So that's
Yes.
not.
She affects me because I love her so much.
Now we finna open up. No, I'm just playing.
Then we gonna have to fight after this.
But anyway, Melissa, how is your energy today, ma'am? How are
I'm
you?
straight. I'm high. I'm happy.
Me too.
Yes. Thank you, God.
Y'all so
So no, I'm good. Like, I woke up this morning with some Londrell.
Oh,
And I'm feeling grateful and thankful, because anytime I have to get ready to go talk about my brothers and the work that we do as a collective, they're on my heart, they're on my mind. And the fact that we can have the opportunity to have a platform to speak about them,
right.
I'm grateful.
And Jay Nicole, how are you?
I am lifted, shifted, higher than the ceiling, y'all. I started my morning with some baby bash, obviously.
Wait, what's baby bash?
Sugar, how you
I
get
was
so
gonna say,
fly.
old school baby
Yeah.
bash.
Okay.
Girl, that's my skate ring days. What you talking about?
I know that's right.
Get all the way.
And I think I already said it, but my energy is really good. I feel like I don't let a lot of shit get to me these days.
Yeah.
I just be
good.
on this whole other place all by myself.
Me too.
Okay.
Planet
You
Kush.
Fuck
Life's
the
too
Lord
short.
universe.
Yes.
It just is what it is. Now, tell our listeners, like, what is Defacto Books? What is it all about? How did it start? And how did you both meet?
So, Defacto Books came about when a really close friend of mine, who also was a romantic relationship at one part of my life, who was incarcerated for basically our whole childhood. Like, a lot of the boys I grew up with ended up dead or in prison. And that's the story of a lot of people in Dallas.
Yeah.
And so as a result of that, there's a group of brothers with him that, resided in the same state penitentiary for over 19 years together. And a lot of them are still there. And those are our original Defacto team brothers. Shout out Tommy Lee, Tommy, Earl, and Brandon. And so they're there, and they were incarcerated with him. Well, he came out. He made parole and was out for 4 years. And we also know the snatchback, right? And how that works, and how recidivism is built into the system, and the opportunities and the weight of all the things placed upon them when they come out. Oftentimes they go back. A lot of them go back. And he did. And during that time, it changed both of our lives forever in a profound way that I cannot even fully describe. I think we put it to words in our book, but like, it was a lot for everybody. And the only way I knew how to heal him as a friend, right, is to send him books. Because Texas prisons do not offer any education or rehabilitative programs, whether they tell you they do or not, they don't. And they ban literature that uplifts Black and brown people. That's just what they do. So we found a way to get books in that no one could get in. And so that started sort of like this crazy railroad of books. Like, we were just sending them. And then they started having these talks about the books. And y'all know the Jada Pinkett, Will Smith, the red table talks they used to do with their kids.
Yeah.
They started calling them the steel table talks in the day room. And they were reading Defacto books. And a lot of it was like bell hooks.
So a whole
and
book club.
Yes, they were having book clubs.
That's dope.
So our brothers, like the leaders, they started writing study guides and reflections and things about the books.
I love that.
I started publishing them and turning them out to unit all over. So we have book clubs all over the state of Texas.
That's amazing.
And we're still there. And now we brought them to the streets. And I thought, okay, the biggest issue was my brothers needed an outlet to be present in what they call the free world. We all know this shit is not free in capitalism. But they want a taste of it, and they want to be out here. So how do we make them out here while they're not? Because many of them are serving life sentences, and that's just the crux of it. And so I thought, I have a resource at hand that God has always provided me with, which is these young people that have a gift to see the world in a way that's actually change making, right? It's why I love my millennials. I love all of y'all. And so I started these things called Coffee with Miss J. Part of it was really just to connect with former students because I've been teaching so long that you have to understand in the 5, 6A high school, you're graduating hundreds of kids a year, right?
Right.
And I really stay in touch with my kids. My kids are my people, my family. Some of them two of them I've really adopted, and their kids are my grandkids. Like, they're my babies.
Yeah.
So, and it's the same with my brothers. So I started that, and we just started talking about, let's go volunteer somewhere together in our brothers in the penitentiary's names. Like, let's give them a voice out here so they're a part of this deal. Jasmine, a.k.a. J. Nicole, she was the first one to start showing up to that and instantly became like a leader presence in that.
Yeah.
Jasmine was my first graduating class as a teacher in high school.
Oh, awesome.
First one. And she was a junior graduating as a junior.
Junior, yeah.
And she was a pain in the ass. She was an asshole.
I'm stubborn. I was stubborn.
She knew everything, and Mama let her tell it, but she did not like me as a teacher. And I didn't know what the hell I was doing either. Keep in mind, you don't know what you're doing. It's like they throw you in there, and it's like, these kids are 18, 17, 18. They're adults. They're about to leave you.
She was tough on us. That's why I didn't like her, because that fucking vampire book. I hated that shit.
Why do you call it the vampire book?
Transylvania or whatever. I was like, man, I gotta write a fucking paper, like, in all these papers. So, and she was about her shit. She didn't let us slack. She didn't let us, like,
she was on
play
you.
her.
They thought they were going to college. My job was to make sure that they weren't looking a fool when they got there. And high school seniors think they are adults and know everything, right? And there's also this part of them, though, that's eager to be a part of the world they don't understand. And there is literally the total ability of openness to plant a seed in them that you have a greater connection to that with which you are, to your creator, and you can find your purpose through helping others. And like, if you plant that, yo, my kids are amazing out here in this world. They're doing big things because you're looking at one of the top
She has a lot of children that I know that she touched, and I know that we, coming from that small ass, racist ass town.
Very racist town, right?
And I was
being biracial,
there was 2.5 black people in the school, and I was the half, and the other 2 were brother and sister. And so I was like, I grew up, my mom, she just was loving on men, and it was hard for her to show love to her children. So I was looking for love in other places, like the streets. And so I was always handled my shit, though. I grew up, I graduated early, and then I left, went to college, came home, and I got in some trouble with weed, of course. And so I ended up going to jail for like 4 days.
Locked up.
They locked that ass up.
They sure did. It was only county, y'all, so it was nothing.
It's still locked up. It's still trauma.
But I got to see, like, they put the book cart around, and the books were fucking trash. Like, so I got to really experience it, and those 4 days changed my life. It broke me down as the person I was, and completely shattered me, because I was like this great person who graduated early, and
So where was the shift? I know you said you didn't like her at first, and now
the
you guys are
Facebook
here.
story.
It was she reached
Facebook
out to me. She reached out to me, and I had just seen what she was doing with Defacto Books already, and I was like,
And this was after your jail experience.
yes,
Yeah, like we hadn't been in touch for
years,
over 10 years. Like, I mean, I'm working.
We were friends on Facebook, so
yeah.
I just like saw what she did. So flash forward to the Coffee with Miss J. I was like, thought I knew what the fuck I was doing. I thought I was confident. I thought I was healing. And then, she was like, let's go volunteer at OC Veggie Project. And I was like, okay, yeah. I'm just gung-ho, because I just knew, I felt it. When she reached out to me, I just felt like, no, Jasmine, you need to jump on this train with her, this journey, because it's going to help you transform the way that you want to. And it really was just about building community. So we started volunteering for for our men, our team members. I'm not going to call them boys.
No, some of them act like boys, though.
But yeah, and so it just started this whole new leaf with these books too. She is always handing me a book, and every one of them changes my life. My mental, I guess. And it's just been a journey, and I've enjoyed just being able to represent in the fact that she pushes me, like the creative that doesn't have very good organization. She's my organization. So now we're business partners, and we are doing these book clubs out in the streets. And we are just creating a community that's really uplifting and
I love that.
informing people.
Yeah, we're on our 4th season, about to launch in February on the 20th. And it's like crazy that we're already on number 4.
Yeah.
Right.
And like we've built this insane community of people. And our goal really through it too is like, for me, you know, we represent Indigenous, Latinx, and Black authors that are incarcerated. Not all of our authors are necessarily incarcerated or formerly. The goal is to like make collaborations in the city with other people doing the same kind of work. And then even our event we just had in December where Pretty Rolls was there.
Hey, shout out Pretty Rolls.
Yeah, it was dope.
Luxury.
And that whole vibe we created, we will continue.
Oh, that was a really dope. I don't think I got to tell y'all that event was really,
Thank
really
you.
dope.
We worked hard on that, and like really, that event will continue with every book club season to culminate, and it's just going to get bigger and doper. And that right there is sort of the essence of it, where it's like we can create space for other small-owned business owners, creatives, artists to showcase their talents in a way that's, you know, equitable and right, and the energy is there, and everybody's just vibing. And
because the vibe there was so healing. Like
my God,
I
it
was
was
just
so
like,
good.
I just sat back for a second and was just looking at everybody. And it was just,
I was
so
like, this is
great.
the hippiest shit I've ever been.
I love
It
it.
give very hippie vibes through the pictures and videos. I was like,
What is going on? Like, this is so
Well,
cool.
so it's crazy because my mom, like her generation, she was an actual hippie, right? So like she came to the show. I don't think anyone knew, but she was like the
really?
little old white lady in the back, like the only one, right? And she was like, she was getting like a Woodstock, you know, reminiscence type shit. And she was just
Taking her
like,
back.
she's like, everybody's just so free and they just love each other. And I was like, that's our community. These are our people.
Right.
And they understand. And I say all the time, disenfranchisement comes in all kind of flavors, right?
It does.
But if you recognize that within somebody else's community and you want to stand beside them, that's where you experience God. That's where you experience God.
Right.
I like how earlier when you finished, you was like, you know, she helped me, the creative with no organization, and look right at me.
Y'all are very similar.
That shit.
But that's why we grow better when we know better and we have people on our team. Y'all compliment each other
balance
for
each
way.
other, yeah.
And we have to build
You balance
community.
each other out.
Yes,
Yeah.
God gave us certain skills that we've harnessed, and we need to use them to help the person who might not have them, but sees the greatness in them.
Right.
Right.
So
That's true.
That's like all we do. That's literally
and the
what
yang.
Defacto Books
That's
is
what we
about.
try to give our brothers too, you know, a space to, because most of them don't have families that are, you know, uplifting and loving like that. So we always want to give them love, no matter what their issue is.
Right.
You know.
Well, that's how
just
you
love them.
abolish prison, is you send love in, because then it becomes self-love and they pour that outwardly.
Currently, my brother-in-law is locked up on a 30-year sentence. First of all, with no proof, just because of his record, he was already labeled guilty. You know, 30 years for nothing. Like that was, I still remember the day I got the call after that sentence because we weren't there, and just that gut punch. So in the way he has 2 kids, and just seeing how, you know, hearing my niece call me like I miss my daddy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and so we can be there so much, we can do so much, we can try to make them, you know, happy in the birthdays and the holidays, but no one takes, you know, him physically being there. You know, so in those phone calls, yeah, that's a lot, and the visits are a lot, but it's like he is.
But you can't hug him.
Yeah.
You can't hold him.
Yeah.
He's not getting to see his children go to school, go to basketball, go to football, do the things.
Right.
And they're not getting to feel him either. And that, I know that creates a huge hole too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just seeing, even with, you know, between my husband and his siblings and my mother and father-in-law, just how it just breaks the family apart, knowing that piece is missing. We've lost family members since he's been locked up. You know, having to deliver that news over the phone. And worry about him now, like, is he going out and lashing out on somebody
because they're not safe when they're emotional.
Yeah.
How is he dealing with it?
Of course, he's one of those. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. He's always good. Like,
How's
he's not
dealing
going
with his set off though, because you told me he just got set off for his parole.
So he never allowed himself to get excited about it.
That's how it goes.
He guarded and protected himself by not allowing himself to be excited. He didn't even want me to tell, the family that he was up. He's like, y'all don't get excited. Don't look too much into this. If it goes good, great. But I'm not expecting it to.
Do you feel like that energy can block the blessing, though? Because this is a conversation that we have with their anxieties of coming out, though, right. Is like, you have to know you're coming home. And the brothers that we've gotten home, because out of the 10 leaders in our group, 2 have come home last year. Mm-hmm. They knew they were coming home. And it's like a speak it into existence kind of thing. You need everybody on your team knowing you're coming home. Right. If he only got a 1-year set off, that is almost not heard of with the case like his. He almost should have got a 2 based off of just the way they do things, because I looked at it. Mm-hmm. He should come home next year, and y'all can make that happen. But it requires, it really is, that energy is that everybody knows he's coming home next year. Right. We are not settling for anything else.
Right.
That's it.
And I need to get with you about that, too, because I didn't even know there were let's just talk about that. I didn't even know there were things that we could do as his family to help him.
It's not that
home.
what you can do, it's what you need to do if you want to see him come home. And that's the thing that the system will not tell you. They don't want you to know how to get people out of prison because they want them to stay there, right there. It's money.
Isn't that how prison started? It was started to basically rip. It was slavery. It was to tear the families apart and separate them so it could create all of this systematic just bullshit.
Absolutely. Right. So that's crazy she said that, because in our next book club series we're reading Clint Smith's How the Word is Passed, and he breaks down that Thomas Jefferson percentage where it's he said of the 2/3 of 1 million interstate sales made by the traders in the decades before the Civil War, 25% involved the destruction of the first marriage, and 50% destroyed the nuclear family, many of these separating children under the age of 13. Do you hear that? 25%, 50%. Right. That's the same ratio that happens with the mass incarceration as slavery, right? When you separate a father from the home, and the ability for them to sustain economic standards to take care of themselves, you remove them from their children for generations, right? Right. What is fatherhood then? Right. What does it mean to have a father? How do we learn that? And then they come home and they're expected to be a man, get a job, be a father. They don't know what that is. Right. They had these babies, a lot of them, when they were young and running around. So it's not they were young and in the streets and doing what boys do that don't have the proper structure and the ways to release their own trauma from whatever childhood shit they have.
Exactly, and then that trauma just keeps trickling down now to that son he had. The son who was locked up. And now that son is starting
the son is locked up too. Cycle. Yes, so many of our brothers have, most of our brothers actually have children. And you got to remember, I've got a brother in there, he's done over 25 years. His son's 32. He came home for a little bit and then went back. His son has 14 children out here now. God. So, now how does he father those children? And then how does he take care of those mothers? And then how do you, and then I got another brother who's serving life, whose son is, in his mid-20s, and he's disagreeing with his dad. Daddy doesn't know anything because he's locked up. But they have this wisdom.
He's angry.
Yeah, and they've done a lot of self-actualization work, these men, because they've had to really sit still with only God, nothing else, nothing else. Yeah. And so they have wisdom to share. And I think, like you said, it's how the families are affected. Mm-hmm. We do not have an outlet for that. There's no, you can't find in Dallas a counseling service or a group therapy program for formerly incarcerated people to go with their families and kids to get help. There are not programs for men who've been incarcerated to become therapists, because that's what we need. We need to turn these brothers into counselors and therapists. They're already spiritual advisors to some of us. So, I mean, it is, we have a brother in doing correspondence courses for theology even right now. He's our, you'll see. He's got some prayers coming out for y'all. Wow. But so, I mean, but they need all of that. And the issue is we know what they need, but where do we get it? Who's stepping forward? How many people have DM'd Defacto Books this year when we've put out things saying, hey, we need these resources? they're not there.
Right.
That's facts. And so we have to cultivate them ourselves through the people we know.
So you feel like once you're incarcerated, they not saying by everyone, but most people just write them off?
Yeah, you are
Forget about
literally a systematic outcast to society. They know this, though. And if you read our book, Surviving Lockdown, that poetry will tell you they're stripped to that. Like, they know that they are second, third class citizens. And because when they get out, they're felons. In Dallas, you can't rent an apartment anywhere decent if you're a felon. And then you can't get subsidized housing assistance if you're a felon. And you can't live with another felon. So if your uncle and your daddy and your grandma were all felons, you have nowhere to go. I know a brother who's been locked up. He's been in there 10 months. He made parole 10 months ago. He can't get out. You know why? He can't get an address approved by the state. So, see, the state even there's a caveat there. I mean, it's never, like, even the fact that when you're incarcerated in prison, you can go to jail. Did you know that? People don't know that. You looking at me like, what? Okay, let me say it again. When you are incarcerated, say you're serving life for murder right now, Lorena.
Right.
You can go to jail still. You would think, no, I'm in prison. I'm at the furthest place I could be in the system, right? I'm in the hole. No, you can still get locked up in prison. There's jail. Yeah, because everything you do is an infraction to the system that will add more time onto your original offense. Right. And they have a jail within the prison. So then it's ad seg, and they put you in administrative segregation. That's what we would call, like, when you watch prison TV shows that lie to you about things. That's what they would call, like, the hole, or like
and all that.
It's like 24 hours a day you're locked in, and they take away all your rights. Like, you thought there's slavery here. There's literal levels to it once you're on the inside, to where they have, like, I have brothers, we can't talk on the phone. They mess with the mail. They can't get it. We can't access them. I can't even send them money. That's the new thing. If they get in trouble in prison for whatever bullshit the system sets out, as rules, they can deny us sending them e-com money.
Wow.
Which means they starve, because we know they don't feed them really. Yeah.
And something you just said about, being locked up 24 hours a day, let's just think about what that does to a person mentally.
Right.
Like, and I know when the pandemic first started, like, our world was pretty much shut down for the most part. People were at home, like,
going crazy
all day with their families. And that drove me insane. Like, I was like, I'm over this.
Well, that's when they wrote that book that we have, because that's exactly what it is. It's like
Surviving Lockdown.
Y'all felt it. Like, y'all felt a glimpse of what it is to be helpless, right?
Right.
And then we were locked up and our electricity went out. Remember that?
Oh, wow, yeah.
That's like a daily occurrence there, right? They don't have heat right now,
Right.
even though we're cold.
That's crazy. So what are they doing to cope?
A lot of drugs and alcohol. Like, I'll keep it all the way real with you. I want to say
Inside or after when they get out?
both. But inside, so like there's a systematic, I would say the pandemic of the world right now is drugs in prison. It's not COVID-19. The prison system knows how they get in and wants them to be there, because they're destroying Black people. That's why they want that. We know that that's there to be a cause of self-destruction, right? Because then they can just say they did it to themselves type thing. Right. But yeah, they're smoking some things that y'all don't even want to know how they're made, because they're so chemically based. They put holes in their brain. These brothers are on the floor having seizures by the boatloads daily. Like, I could show you video footage from inside that would make your stomach turn, watching COs just walk right past it. And they don't receive medical treatment if they OD, because that's their fault, right? And the drugs don't exist like by magic. Do you know what I'm saying? They don't beam themselves in there. So it's a system. And so the issue is, if you ask one of my brothers who's been in prison the longest, he would tell you that about 80% of them are addicted to drugs. That's a huge number.
That's crazy.
Huge, right? And an average unit holds anywhere from 300 to 2,000 men on a male unit. So that's a lot. So then what happens when they come out, right? Because you already know drug addiction, while being institutionalized, is one thing, but then you got to come out and face the challenges we have out here. Plus,
you have access to whatever.
Well, and access to, like, not really know how to not kill yourself too, right? Like, I mean, it's just, so they do a lot of drugs and they drink, because you can make alcohol in prison, but they drink, and then, but our brothers try to find, they read, they read and they write and they reflect, and that's literally like why we know we have to exist. That's why God put this together.
Yo, they're so dope. it's Dut. I love when she gets a call from Dut, because literally, you know their situation, what they are in there going through. He's such a light. He is such, like, every time you talk to him, you can just hear the smile on his face. It is just like so warm, and it's like, damn, let me check myself.
Despite what he's facing, his surroundings, his circumstances.
And he has 2 children out here too, that, he's trying to support from inside, and it's hard. And, you got ex-wives and baby mamas in different situations that they're not right. They're in their own trauma spaces. So the kids are really not being looked after.
So let's talk about that with the families and people that have someone that is locked up. Like, how can families be more supportive, especially when someone's getting ready to come home?
Okay.
Like, we always think about, let's go buy them some clothes, some shoes, give them a little money.
That's
they
like
have
the
somewhere
first
to
thing we
stay.
do, right?
Like, those are the first
they gotta
things
look
you
fresh
go
and clean
to.
when they come out. Type
have
shit.
a party, invite the whole family and friends over,
all of
people
that's
that
bullshit.
have been there.
Yeah.
What's really needed?
Yo, I can tell you, for just knowing my brothers, and I can't speak for everyone coming out of prison, and I've not been incarcerated. My auntie's in prison, though. Shout out Mountain View Unit, ladies, because there's a lot less ladies' prisons in Texas, right? They get it way harder, but my auntie's in there. She just got denied for parole as well, so we got a 2-year set off, but she coming home. We got this. But yeah, so I think like that partying and all of that, for one, a lot of them, they don't want that, because like that's too much. You know what I'm saying?
It's a lot of anxiety.
It is, and their anxiety, even if they're not going to tell you, number one, they have anxiety. They almost all have PTSD. And like it being institutionalized even to a place, like there's little things I tell people, like check how you correct their behavior, for one. Because like, for example, they're going to use the toilet like a sink in your bathroom. Okay, I know, and your eyebrows raised, right? Like, what the hell? The sink is right there. I don't want to put my face down in my toilet, right? And I'm not talking about using the water necessarily. I'm talking about spitting in it like it's a sink. It is because the toilet is everything in your cell. The toilet is a phone. The toilet transports things to other people. The toilet makes wine. The toilet makes stew. The toilet, you take a shit in it. Like, they bleach them out every day. The toilet is like, it's
everything.
It literally is like a cell phone. It's your cell phone. Okay, there we go. It's your cell phone.
I watch jail shows all the time. So I see the things.
Don't let that propaganda fool you, though.
I know.
I seen when they can flood it, and like if they mad, they'll flood the toilet, and
then they waiting around and shit for weeks, because then what happens in real life is the prisons will stop the plumbing on purpose and then just let them wait in their own shit till they get sick and die in there. That's what really happens.
God,
they don't show that on jail shows, though. But yeah, I say don't be careful correcting their behavior, because like it's okay. Just model. You know what I'm saying? Just be you, and don't let them learn by observing, and let them be weird. Like, think of them like they're almost from another planet. Like, we're from this world, and especially if they've been gone like 2 decades at least. Like, let them just adapt in their own way and just be there and
That's
remind
a lot
them.
of undoing.
It is, because they can't handle changing the one simple behavior when they're dealing with who am I and what am I supposed to do now? What am I supposed to do now? So watching that, I think the main thing is they got to have a place to stay, like we were talking about.
That's loving, though.
So like,
because that's the thing. Like, and I'm learning that with my healing, and it's not even on the scale of what I can imagine they have to heal at, but it's a community. When you have loving people that literally like support you and are just like, no, like, we know you're not perfect, you're human, but I still love you for all that you are. What are you doing? Let me support it. Like, you can.
Most
do
people
it.
can't even do that for themselves.
Right.
So it's hard to find people who can do that for someone else.
So,
It really
so I feel
is.
like with our community, that's what we're trying to create. And then ultimately to be able to offer them employment through places that understand them is going to be the key for them to be able to just be themselves. Because you have to remember, if you're locked up between the ages of 16 and 25, your frontal lobe in your brain is not even developed with that thing we have that controls our irrational decision making.
It's decision making.
It's why they got in trouble in the first place on some real dumb shit, right? So then now their brains developed, but
and your
they've
emotions
been,
too, because so your impulse control of decision making and your emotions is all right here. So they don't know how to control their emotions. They don't know how to like make a decision.
I think women develop that a lot earlier.
They do. And so when we're mostly dealing with men, and so you look at like, then they're in stasis, right? You put them basically in a jar, or cage in this case, and they have to develop their and find a sense of identity, they really miss the opportunity. Like us being free, we went to school, we took classes, we did things where we were like listening to TED Talks and podcasts, and we're always looking for ways to expand who we are, and without the opportunities other than books, like it's hard to have something to play off of. So like they need self-discovery time. It's why I believe they need to come home and get out of the city. Like y'all know I'm the hardest supporter of Dallas of anybody I know. But fuck Dallas. Coming home incarcerated in Dallas is too hard. We are not kind to them. The city is very hard to come back to. I want them to be able to go somewhere with more nature and peace and quiet and all the free ganja.
And Dallas is too busy already. Like Dallas is just stressful.
There's no jobs for people who aren't incarcerated. Right.
So, exactly.
That is stressful.
So I would say finding a community to live in, and that's really hard to do because a lot of them don't have anybody. Like my brothers will tell me they can call me every day if they want. We do talk every day, most of them, and like there's brothers in those day rooms just clock watching. They're not getting phone. They can't call anyone, and they're like, so the people who have someone to call, they're looked at differently, right? They're at a different level. And that shouldn't be the case. Like, can you imagine being in there and you have no one to write, no one to call?
That's crazy.
For 20 years. Like, I don't know.
And I think with the families, too, with, like, being able to heal families. One time we had a young lady come to book club, I believe, and she was talking about how there's not a space for her to talk to people, like other kids that have parents that are incarcerated, so that they can relate. And I think that was huge too, because I never thought about that. Like these kids should be talking to each other, because who else understands them? So I think
in school it's not allowed. Like in schools, we're told as educators, kids are not allowed to talk about incarcerated parents. Like it's frowned upon, right? And then kids are taught at home, we aren't going to talk about Uncle so and so. He's away right now. That's it. We're not finna tell people. Like that's our culture.
And it's just the trauma of what that does to you, having to keep things bottled in, not having an outlet, not having someone I can go to, not being able to express how I feel.
But
talking through things and just for someone to be there for you and understand, even as a child, that means something. Even though it's not fixing the problem, it's not bringing the parent home, it's not, soothing that pain in those ways, but it's helping you. Yeah.
Well, and as a teenager, your sense of identity is so confused that, like, imagine being a young girl, even it's little things for them. Like, they can't go to daddy-daughter dance, but all their friends do because daddy's locked up.
Right.
Why do we not have a supportive community saying, why are we doing this type of activity?
Yeah.
Why are we not changing the activities so that they encompass all of our children and they're not exclusive of kids who have this, capitalistic idea of family in their house?
Right.
Why are we not? And then, like, the thing is, young people, their trauma can be helped through group activities with each other, experiencing the same thing. So putting those kids together is necessary. So I think if we strengthen those things out here, like what you're saying with kids with families, talking to women whose husbands are incarcerated, men whose wives are incarcerated, those things, partners incarcerated, then we heal better. If we heal ourselves with those things, we're better prepared for when they come home.
Right. I love that.
But until we do that, they come home, and then what happens is they're hurt. They hurt us because we're the only ones close to them, and relationships are literally destroyed.
Even more.
I mean, in fact, we have members of our team right now who we're not talking to by their choice because what we say, they're on one, right? And because these men have so much to deal with, right? And they don't know how to cope. So sometimes they act out of character and do things that, as somebody who's works really hard on my own self-love, I have to set boundaries too, right?
Of course.
And we have to say, I can't accept this behavior from you. But it's so hard because you've watched them through their whole process and you know why they're doing it.
Yeah.
But it's
going to
be
there.
So
it's a lot. It's a lot. I wish we could save the world and put an end to all this and heal all these families.
We will. We're going to get
rituals. That's what the last book taught me. Just create rituals because that's so healing. That's why I love book club. It's a ritual. I show up every Sunday and
this
I talk.
Is a ritual.
And express. And that's how I met y'all through the book club, which I absolutely love. So book club starts back
February 20th. We will be at the Wild Detectives, 314 West 8th Street in the Cliff. And you can check us out at Defacto.
And what's the first book?
The first book we read,
We're starting
reading.
with.
So we're starting
the
with
new book
this year.
club to start.
How the Word is Passed by Clint Smith.
Okay.
So, and you can get that actually at Pan African
Show that up
Connection.
to the camera.
You can actually get this at Pan African Connection in Glendale
yeah, I
Shopping
love
Center.
it.
That's
I
where
love
we
the
buy
store.
all of our Defacto books that ship into our brothers. We do not purchase from Amazon. We don't purchase from anything that supports mass incarceration. Our brothers get books from local Black-owned bookstores.
So the Pan African can ship into prisons.
She can, and we can as well.
Oh, yeah, I knew that.
So, like,
right,
if you
that's
need
right.
books sent to your brother, you
Yes.
get with me, and I'll help you.
Yes, because I want to send them this.
And we
one
can
too.
do that. But you can also get 10% off your book for book club if you purchase it at the Wild Detectives, where we're having the book club, because it's
Okay.
also a bookstore, and you get a free drink there if you buy it. So if you
They
like
got great
to turn
drinks,
up.
y'all.
Yes.
So where can we follow you ladies on social media?
We are at Defacto_books. So DEFACTO_books. And
And you can follow me personally at J.Nicole with 2 E's.
She's real model-esque, y'all. So follow her page. She on there looking good,
y'all.
all in Dubai.
Let me know
I
if you
was
want to
big
be a brand
mad.
ambassador. Oh, you was in Dubai?
Girl, she went to
she's
Dubai
everywhere.
last year. I was big saucy. I was all in the
She
stories.
went everywhere
like,
last year.
okay,
I did go
sis,
everywhere. It was
live your
great.
best life.
Well, let
Yes,
me know
thank
if you
you.
would like to be a Pretty Rose brand ambassador.
Yes.
girl, she already is. We be smoking.
them at home, so I'll take some selfies. I got
I
you.
know that's
You might as well
right.
get a discount code and get commission.
Yeah.
I'll send you the anti-ratchet pre-rolls ambassador selfie.
Right. Well, I'm so happy you ladies were able to join us. We might have to pick this up again because
Yes,
this was
well,
a lot
I
of
did
information.
tell all the
so.
brothers that we were doing this today, and I have a couple who would love to join the podcast,
Okay.
and we can work out how
We
to get
can
them to
make that
call
happen.
in.
Yeah, we can make.
They wanna talk to y'all.
Yes, we can make that happen. We're gonna have to make that
that'd be
happen.
dope.
That'll be dope.
Yes.
All right. Thanks y'all for tuning in again. Bye y'all.
Thank you.